What's up, our Forge Master brethren? Welcome to Forge Master Metal Reviews, the place where you can get the most out of your metal, musicians, and fans alike.
It's time for another top metal list, and this time we're covering the best metal albums of June. Stay tuned to the end where we drop some records that we're looking forward to in July as well. What albums are you digging or looking forward to? Drop them in the comments below.
Blast beats and death metal riffing from the past, melodic death metal bliss, and avant-garde black metal that never quits. Let's get into some more killer records from June.
Pestilence, Exitium, released June 25th on Agonia Records. What a year for bands that are showing up and still completely dominating the metal landscape over 20 years later in their careers. I cannot believe I'm reviewing a Pestilence record in 2021, and I've been a huge fan of the band since their devastating 1989 release of Consuming Impulse. I'll admit I haven't really latched on to any of their albums since then, but I would still recommend their follow-up endeavors if you enjoy weird, jazz-infused progressive death metal. The Dutch death group just showed up this June with an entirely new lineup, with Patrick Mamali taking the reins from the original crew. This album is freaking intense. There's old school death metal flavors mixed with modern production techniques, which reminded me at times of a mix between Blood Mantra era Decapitated and sort of Riptosis or Voivod sci-fi feel. You feel the riff worship on this record for the likes of old school death metal greats like Morbid Angel and Death. The vocals even remind me sometimes of Chuck Schuldiner. I like their experiments with the symphonic elements as well. It added some interesting flavor to that old school death metal vibe all over the album. Overall, I really enjoyed it. Exitium belongs on the heap of killer death metal records released in 2021, or out of 5 heaps of dead bodies.
Atmospheric sludge metal group Bossk, named after the reptilian bounty hunter in the Star Wars universe, awesome, has released their album Migration on Death Wish Incorporated. I'm a huge fan of this genre, so give me something that is equally atmospheric and heavy, and I'm eager to hear it. If you can hone that recipe into something masterful and original like Bossk has done here, you're creating something fantastic. Bossk has certainly created a notable album for the 2021 Death Wish catalog. They are very good at casting a spell on the listener with their droning atmospheres, only to yank them from under tow and pummel them with grooving heaviness and pounding concrete riffs. A good atmospheric sludge band makes me feel like I'm wandering an abandoned city. Seeing this album cover, I knew I was going to be right at home with this one. Migrations is going to get 4.5 out of 5 desolate urban environments.
The Absence Coffin Eyes, released June 25th on M Theory Audio. Another blast from the past, boys. And for those of you who don't know The Absence, they are essentially At the Gates Worship, and they were huge in the 2005 to 2007 era with From the Grave and Riders of the Plague. They took a fairly long break between 2011 and 2018, marking their return with A Gift for the Obsessed. And one of the biggest things I think The Absence struggled with for years is finding that identity in Scandinavian-inspired melodic death metal, especially with so many bands gunning for that At the Gates crown. But the Florida group have always had killer musicians that are easily some of the best examples of how you kill that thrash-tinged melodic death metal subgenre, and their latest effort, Coffin Eyes, is easily their best album since the early 2000s. This record is packed to the brim with extremely tight and beastly energy, executed to total melodic death perfection. Fans of the riff will absolutely find something to love here. The album is a bit heavy-handed, I'll admit, with most of the great tracks sitting towards the front of the record, but it's still a great melodic death album, nonetheless, that you should not miss. 4 out of 5 coffins.
Bossk Keloid's June 4th album, Family the Smiling Thrush, was released on Ripple Music and completely captured me from the moment that I heard the single, Gentle Clovis. This psychedelic-inspired sludge band has conjured together an album that is more akin to a meditative experience than a metal album. If you watch this channel enough, you'll quickly learn that introspective music really captures us. Bossk Keloid has created a wonderful piece of art with this record, exploring themes of the human condition by talking about generosity, thankfulness in the duality of our mystical existence. I really wish I could find lyrics for this album because I just want to dive into Family the Smiling Thrush as a tome of knowledge. This album blew me away. It's no wonder that it's getting such high praise from our fellow journalists. Family the Smiling Thrush is a game changer for this genre. It is quickly becoming one of the best of the year. 4.8 out of 5 nesting thrushes. Do not pass on this one.
Thy Catafalque, Vidoc, released June 25th on Season of Mist. Yes, all these came out June 25th. The one-man black metal groups and Thy Catafalque are one of the best, easily one of my favorite modern black metal acts. Vidoc marks their 5th release in only 7 years of their career, and that's goddamn impressive for their sheer brilliance of their music that this band has constantly put out since their first record. 2020's Knave was a great album, and I thought it would be more of the same, but Vidoc might easily be one of the best in their discography, if not the best. This album turns things up a notch with the extreme metal tendencies, and that's a component that I feel like Thy Catafalque was missing in their Thy catalog for years. What I love about this band is their ability to mix in ambient music with synth, folk, progressive, and even some electronic components in their compositions. And as a composer myself, this album totally blows my mind. It reminds me to get the fuck back to work. The production on Vidoc is also superb, with all of the organic sounds that you'd want in your black metal record, but furnishing a modern feel to give all the instruments the weight that they deserve. The only slight ding that I would give this record is that the songs do take a little while to develop, and the album sits over an hour, but Vidoc is easily one of my favorite albums of 2021. Total surprise for me. 4.6 out of 5, Cliff Watchers.
Inhuman Condition's Rat God is the debut release from this death metal supergroup. Put out June 4th on Listenable Insanity Records, this old school death metal sound is sure to transport you back to the 90s with the production, lyrical themes, and songwriting abilities. Inhuman Condition comes from the ashes of the band Massacre, a band that has been around since 1984, but they've never really had the altitude of success that their Floridian cohorts have had. Rat God feels like a tribute to the glory days of Floridian death metal, with short but brutal songs, slamming riffs, and bone-liquefying solos. This year has been a great year for death metal, with many genre-bending releases available. This album doesn't really feel so much like a genre bender as it is a reflection of a bygone era. But has it really gone by when we have albums like Rat God, when we have bands like Pestilence still putting out records? They're proving to us that the 90s are still here in the fingertips and vocal cords of these fantastic musicians. Rat God is a fun and quick death metal record that I'm gonna give 4.3 out of 5 creepy guys standing in a spiral staircase.
Welcome to the bonus segment, guys, where we're hitting on the albums that we're stoked about in July. There's tons of great albums that are out even just today.
So what are you looking forward to in July? Make sure to leave them in the comments down below.
First pick from today, actually, July 2nd, we got At the Gates, The Nightmare of Being. Keep an eye out for a review in the coming weeks. It's a freaking fantastic record.
Year of No Light released Console Lamentum today as well. They are an atmospheric sludge band on Pelagic Records, highly underrated. Be sure to check them out.
Technical blackened death metal titans Noctambulous released The Barren Form today as well. Give that a listen, really killer band.
In Shine, one of my favorites, this majestic and heavy doom band are releasing their Transcending Fire EP today. Give those dudes a listen if you dig your metal low, heavy, and slow.
Night Crowned are releasing Had Inferned on July 9th. Totally underrated and up-and-coming melodic death metal that you should absolutely check out.
Ruad are releasing Eternal on July 9th, an epic folk and atmospheric black metal band, really killer music. And fun fact, album art was done by Moonroot Art, who also did our Forge Master logo.
Times of Grace hitting us with Songs of Loss and Separation on the 16th. I am super stoked for this album. I'm a huge Jesse Leach fan and Killswitch Engage fan. Positive vibes and killer riffs all day.
And finally, Lantlos are releasing Wild Hund on July 30th. Easily some of the best in the atmospheric black metal and post-rock genre. Expecting some serious feels in this one.
I'm sure there's some other great music we missed. Drop those below and let us know what you're stoked about in July.
As always, go with the gods, our Forge Master brethren, and once more, rise from your grave! See you next time.